Here we're about information.
Shouldn't matter if you're talking in the darkness, right?
Right. Maybe that's what I should do next time is just talk in the dark, and then they won't worry about what I look like in front of the camera.
There you go. You always put us in blindfolds, right? So
I know, right?
not the same thing.
Should be in
There we go.
there. Okay.
Okay, we're good. Yay. Share.
Okay.
Yay. It's going.
Okay, I can see it now. Now that we're in there. So, what a day.
Oh, yeah.
A good day, but, well, actually, it started yesterday when I was talking to someone on the phone, and then they go into, we're in it. Yeah, so that's going to be strange. How are we getting to that? So it is a Sunday night. Does it feel like a Sunday night?
No, it doesn't. It feels a lot later than it actually is.
You can
And we're
kind of,
having storms here.
it kind of feels like you're getting ready for some big, like like this big negative presence that goes boom, just falls to the ground, and we're all sitting there waiting in our seats and going, we have the popcorn ready and we got our drinks ready, so now we're just ready to watch the show.
Yep.
And many forms of that. That's the whole process with this. So everybody,
Okay.
with the Gale show too, everybody's like, we messed up on time last time, and now it's like I think people are like 8 o'clock Central Time. I think
Right.
so. Um, so let's go with a few questions to start off with, and then I can go into some channeling that I went over yesterday.
Okay.
Like I had no choice. I was in a conversation with someone else, and they're like, "Nope, we're pulling you out of this. We're giving you this information, and pay attention to it."
Right.
So this should be
Okay.
interesting.
Well, let's do a bigger question first because that might actually answer a few small questions. The question is, we would love to have you explain exactly what you meant when you saw and posted that you feel that we are in it and
Okay,
why.
so we're going right into that.
There
Okay,
we go.
so what I was explaining is they were explaining in a channel process that checking the energy, because besides what the post was tonight on the deck clock, what was started on Thursday, and that's like putting up before they start anything, they have to show you, right? So then they go, and I felt the energy shift. Then I didn't say anything because I was busy and occupied. But then they say, we're in it. Which is basically, I want to explain this to you. So they had me analyze the 10 days of darkness. The 10 days of darkness is not about us. It is about the darkness, the ones that are dark. And they are going to be without power, without connection, without internet, without cell phone. And that is their darkness, that they don't have the power they used to have anymore. We have already been in the darkness for a long time. We ourselves are coming into the light, and that's why they're talking about everything has to be seen in the light. So their darkness begins in a deep process, and that's what they were showing me, that their darkness has begun. So that 10 days of darkness, we apply it to a 3D process, and they said apply it to a 4D process. Their dark moments, their dark days have begun. And we apply it to ourselves. We don't need to do that because, yes, you are going to witness darkness and see it. but you yourself are not going to be disclosed to no information. They're going to give it and bring that to the light. Okay, everybody kind of knows what is about to happen, but it is not about bringing you into that darkness. It is about bringing them, like I said, the rats, and there you don't have no choice anymore. And that was the thing they showed me. It is their darkness. It is your light. That was the whole thing about this. So then they showed me Thursday going all the way to the Christmas day, or Christmas Eve, between the 23rd and the 24th. And then at that point, that would end in a way of showing more. So I talked about a point of a gift between a credit card and, because when you're starting a new world, as you've seen today, the old system has to go down. So, and I keep saying a green button has to restart. And at the same time, all over. This is what I get spiritually, all over. So that has to be implemented at the exact moment. Because at that moment, when that happens, that brings an energy that changes. A burden is lifted to humanity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that goes down. You breathe in a relief. That brings an energy to the light. It brings a strength, an abundance, the fruits,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And so as they were saying, it is not your darkness. It is not humanity's darkness. It is the dark ones that will be in the dark. And so that is the whole thing that they were telling me. So everything will be seen in the light. So, you know, as we're revealing this, we have to get out of this 3D process, because we're not in that process no more. We're in this 4D advanced technology. Things happen fast and quick, and everything is going on behind doors very smoothly, very smoothly. A lot of this has been done before, you know, and I don't have sponsors pushing me to say things. I don't have people paying me to push certain narratives of things. I do it because this is just something that I'm able to give the information and relay it. No one is in between me and spirit. Nothing is bought or sold for. So I'm just letting you know, as you're going into these days, you need to be very careful. And this is where I've been talking about, and I did put the product pushing out there. It's going to get to an advanced area, because we're in the last days that they can get their money for this. Because once it changes, you no longer need it. You no longer need their advice on this process. So it'll end. That is the thing. So what I'm saying is, each day that rolls out, there'll be more information presented. You're going to see, like I said, look for the white buses everywhere. Look for helicopters everywhere. Look for buildings and corporations locked up. They're going to lock them out of everything. Internet-wise, mobile-wise, web-wise, building-wise, money-wise. It's a whole lockdown in a different way. So that's what you need to be paying attention to in a very, very intelligent and very cunning process. I'm not sorry, but it has to be that way. So with this, everything will be locked down in a different way. And we're thinking 3D lockdown. It's not for us, it's for them. Mm-hmm. It's for them. And so we keep, because we've been in this old process where we've heard that we're the ones that, you know, we've been taking it and taking it and taking it and taking it, and we think at this process we got to take more. Well, no, we don't. We don't. We just accept what's changing. how these days, the end of days, in this different way of saying it, are coming to the light. I always say it's always going to be shown in the light. It's always going to be so. And this is where you come down to it. What master you serve is going to be seen, dark or light.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're working for the dark, you're going to be on that list and you're going to be highlighted and they're going to know. So it's coming. It's coming into this process in every way. So it's the darkness of the days are not for us. It's for them. Because I want you to think about being on that side now. And I guarantee you it's not feeling good. It's feeling uncomfortable. It's feeling paranoid. Right. It's feeling like everything is going to be taken from me and I have nowhere to go and nowhere to hide. And I'm talking on this realm of this world and the other. There's nowhere to go. What you've done is unforgivable. And so that's where that whole, I'm being kind of very direct in that because this is important to understand, not to feel that burden onto your own chest and you carrying this plate and thinking you're going to go through this. So look at it that way, of a 4D process of going through this. And like I said, I just told you that I think, what's it been, months I've been saying that I think the accounts for your financial has been copied. I saw spiritually that there's a ditto account and it's just going to flip. And then that also I said that you would have a certain amount of time to exchange your money at home, because what I'm saying is all these people all over the world in the United States, they put money away, they hide it, and they forget where they put it. And there's going to be a process that they're going to give you a certain amount of time to exchange that out. So if anybody is hiding money, they better know where it's at to get it exchanged before a certain time. So I'm telling you, you're going to have problems with the elders because they forget where they put stuff. Right. You know, and I see that on estate issues that I have to deal with, and they find money, and it's because they never were told where it was at, and they forgot where they put it. So you're going to run into a lot of situations like that. So what I'm saying, we have to get out of this 3D process of they have control. No, they don't have control anymore. And it's your conscience with a higher quantum system that is connected to your information. And there is going to be such for as much as what they've done, the banks are going to pay dearly, because they agreed to do this. They agreed to put, and so they have no control anymore. They have no control anymore. So that is going to put them in a different bracket, feeling like the small little guy. But you put yourself in that situation. Now we can't trust you. And that's where I had that dream 3 or 4 years ago about this system. I think I said on James Rink show is how higher conscience, and it goes by your energy, your frequency, your whole movement, and your intentions, and that it would be on a fair ground of responsibility. You can't con it, you can't lie to it, you can't bullshit it. Mm-hmm. It's going to be your intentions before you are even in the process of doing it. It'll shut you down. That is a very fearful thing if you are in the opposite side right now. So literally, look at yourself, but think of the opposite side where they're at. They are running rafts right now. So that is my answer to that question. And when I just threw that on Signal, because it was just like, boom, here you go. We're in it. We're in it. Don't you think? I mean, they're literally in that saying, think on your own. Ask yourself that question. Are you in it? Are we in it?
Right.
You know, they did notify you. They did show you. They did tell you. They did present it out there. It was just, what are you listening to? How are you seeing this? In an old process. But if you look at it in a different way, you might be surprised at what you're verifying.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Great. They're in their 10 days of darkness, and after their 10 days, they're pretty much gone. We don't have to worry anymore.
And then we go into the movies, you know.
Okay.
But I think there's going to be 2 movies. There's going to be that movie that everybody's waiting for, and then I would call it the left-wing liberal meltdown. Right. And I can't decide whether they're going to be watching one or the other, because I would even believe, like I said, the military is going to, it's different when you go to a war and you know what to expect from your enemy, but these are just irrational and erratic. They're just like, oh my God, and we don't know what they're going to do.
Right.
You know, that's the truth. I think that is a different type of, oh Lord, type of situation. So yeah, interesting times.
Very good. So any other major things happening before January 1st, do you think? Besides that, which is big enough.
I know. I mean, what events? I just don't feel energy is the biggest thing that's changing.
Mm-hmm.
Viewing, paying attention to. I'm sure there, and I don't feel that this blue beam stuff could happen because they don't have the access to the Wi-Fi the way they used to. So deny. So I don't feel like that's going to be a problem, but you do need to pay attention and start to accept what's happening above, and not be afraid of it when you see stuff. So I would, in the sky, because you're getting the truth setting in front of you, not being an aggressive way, but slowly getting you to understand the concept that we as humans are not the only beings on this planet, in this universe. By far, that is just such a delusion state of ridiculousness.
Oh yeah.
They pushed it in at a young age. So yeah. So now we're in this other process. So it's seeing everything. Don't reside everything with 3D anymore. You're just it's going to fall apart. It's just like dust that it's just crumbling in front of you. And as you try to put it together, it's just not going to make any sense anymore because it's in a non-existence in that process. But this is the thing I'm getting like a little annoyed with. It's just when something happens to give it credit towards a direction, which is in the angelic presence. And they've seen it twice, and we've talked about this today. And the first time I showed the image of talk to you guys, channeled the information before it was presented, and you saw it on the deck clock. And these angelics here and there, there and here. And then all of a sudden, they come in and they want to discredit those angelic presence. And they want to idolize or put something else in the manner and then tarnish their name. And it's just like, anytime when we deal with this of giving something credit for what it's done in the presence of the history that's shown these beings doing the work, you have a little of this ego thing going on. And then like we're coming out of this name that you're seeing, these people trying to give a false god, Enki, of creating an idol, just in the past, creating an idol. His name is not in the biblical sense. It is not in many books. It is just made up and idolizing and is pushed in a persona in that way. you made the deal with the wrong side, and now you contracted to that negative side. So as I say again, and I repeated myself, Enki is just a prostitute of the universe that made deals. I say it again, and I mean it. So all that's going to push you off is a cliff in that process, in that huge process of the cliff. So when you have all this information and that you channeled all this information, show the original writing, show the drawing. Don't get it off Google. This is what it's like. This one I've done, and this one I've done. So you can go in between these two. No good energy. No good energy. No good goddess energy. Not at all.
Right.
So they just won't let this one go because they're using it to sell a persona, whatever contract you signed on with. So, and as I said, whoever keeps pushing this, I would challenge them at any time, any day on channeling this information in front of a live audience. They'll never do it.
Right.
So this whole process of bringing in another goddess to take credit that what creation is made, this whole presence of Yeshua and this energy of the light and the Pleiadians and all this stuff and everything that was created and stepped into the light, you're not going to take that away. His names are not written in stone. No Moses has talked about his name. No profound lightning rod has written his name or pulled a sword from the stone. It is a character that made the bad deals that no one trusts. And I say it to his face.
And like those other truther individuals who are discussing this being that doesn't exist, again, they're all falling down.
Right.
We're starting to not see them anymore.
Right. And that's the thing about it is false idol. False idol. Period, across the board.
Right.
And the thing is when you're trying to get something to stick with the general public, they'll throw many things at you, many things, many ideas, and they won't stick to one thing. It changes constantly because they don't know what they actually believe in. They're just going to throw things until it sticks. And that is the problem. They know with spirit and creator and the light and guess what? It's consistent. It keeps you on the path. It doesn't change. It stays steady. A warrior stays steady on the path. They do not bend. They do not fold. They stay on the path. They stay on the direction. It's not change and go off this way. It doesn't change and go off this way. And it definitely does not look like Fabio out of a magazine. Okay?
Right.
And it doesn't get you to idolize things, period. So this whole Anki thing needs to be washed down in the toilet because he's not going to show up at your door or your presence or anything like that because I guarantee you angels will dismantle him in seconds. So right now, again, on the deck clock, there are symbols of those angels again. And so I would say do not allow them to take that credit away and try to idolize another being again. Give credit where it's due. There's a reason why those four are on there.
Right.
We've been here from the get-go.
Right. Yes, because some people have mentioned about seeing that or having that other name mentioned on the Q clock that's around.
Yeah, but this is what I'm going to talk to you about.
Yeah.
If you look at that thing anybody can copy that. That's what they said. And look at the psyops on that. You haven't seen it anywhere else, right? So,
No.
And where they got it was TikTok, which, come on, it's ridiculous. So, and when the real truther community, each one will spray it here, spray it there, put it here. You know, they all spread it, but it just seems like, and I've seen that several times, and then it's wrong time, and then it doesn't happen. So they can copy anything. So I'd be looking at the bottom, the very fine line, and TikTok is not a source to get it from. So, and then I've never been drawn into, I mean, anybody can make a black and white website and put a Q in it. It's a psyop. So, like I said, at the end, we're going to know, right? At the end of this, all of a sudden, after all this biblical stuff, all these Bibles, all these books, all the, Emerald tablets, all the Art of the Covenant, all of a sudden, Enki is the savior. Give me a break.
Right.
Wrong. So that'll go down the drain just like everything else. So it is pushing an agenda that's going to end in a bad way. Bad way. So we're at the point that it's about your inner strength, trusting yourself, trusting because they're all in fear of that frequency that's going to come from Creator, that is in tune to you, that they're trying to change that or trying to get you to not listen to that inner voice that's there and be distracted by something that has no power.
Right, that's the big thing, distraction.
Well, in Revelation, you don't hear Enki's name in there either. Even
right.
Mentioned in there too. We're talking dead horsemen. But you know what I'm saying? It's just, and we're at that time that this paradigm is going to end and a new one's going to be created. And I kept hearing, as the dark is going to take as many as they can with them. They would love for you not to choose the light. They would love for you to not think on your own. They would love for you to buy into that whole propaganda. But all of them, all at once, are going to be seeing what they're really serving. What's that saying? Let my people go. You know what I'm saying? Literally, let the people go. Let them make their own decision. Let them make their own choice. Let them follow their own instinct. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
So
I think it makes it tough for some people, though, because they just get
so distracted. Light over this. I would definitely put the light over this. This doesn't look like it's going to be protecting you, but stabbing you in the back. So that will end badly.
Right.
We can go on to the next subject now.
Okay. Yeah, again, coming up, people are wondering how for those who celebrate the holiday, they're wondering if anything's going to be anything might happen that might take over the holiday, or if they won't be able to celebrate it, things like that.
I think there's, with anything with change, there's going to be shifting. There might, airport, you might see one area that's isolated off and one that's working, but I think they're going to function through this in a process that's smoother than you think. Trying to make this a smooth transition. I'm not seeing, you might see a lot more air traffic going on because of things, and then they might shut things down for a temporary time and then bring it back up. But I'm not feeling, and I mean spiritually, again, I don't get my information from here. I just sense it. And the thing is, I don't feel this how things build up, how something's going to happen with me on the predictions, and then it's just going to crash. And I'm not feeling this anxiety or this push that we're kind of flowing through things. Just like if you're developing something new, they're going to have to work things out. There might be a pause where this is the thing I would tell you, through these holidays, through this process, understand what's happening in this world, and you need to grasp some extra patience. Do not go into the Karen mode or the kin mode, okay? And that's another thing that society has pushed on, that just have a fit and get your way. Have more patience of understanding what is happening, and everybody's trying to implement this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, talking about people who serve food during the holidays, the airplanes, taxis, everything. Have more patience. Because our generation was taught to be respectful. And that needs to implement and come back in that way. It has some patience with things. There's not such a big hurry. By yelling and screaming at a person is not going to make them do their job faster, because it's usually something behind them that they have no control over. So people of service to you that are in the service field, have a little more sympathy and empathy for them in this time. So.
Right, especially now.
Yeah, so right now I'm seeing you're going to see new things that are going to be, but you are still going to see a lot of lockdown doors, corporations not be able to get into. I just see things that are bad will be locked up, and things that are a part of goodness will have a different entry or a different access to, but it's going to flourish in a way. And I got to tell you, and everybody knows this, there's this energy that you can feel that's excited in a different way. And it's abundance in. I always said that everything in the universe, every being in the universe is at this time watching this planet going through this change. That's the thing. It's those souls from the past witnessing and where we're at on this process, and trusting the ambassador because he earned that position that he has been born to do, and they need to give him credit for those heavy stones and those swords thrown. And as we change and go into a new world, there's this, like I said, this panic, worrying about things being paid for and all that stuff. You're not going to have that. You're not going to have that as issues. So if you're not having those issues, you could calm down, look at your fellow people around you, and be more courteous to things, because there's no panic to get to one place or another. Your world is changing. Kind of take a deep breath, look behind the veil, and calm down. Look at this in the humanity way. So I don't feel, I feel dismantling phases. And I feel creation, creativity, and building and designing and watching that. I even feel like smaller towns, when we do have a phase where we do have to isolate ourselves for a little bit, that you're going to see your fellow neighbors and everybody around working together more than you realized. I always said this event, which was weird, again, Jeep will tell you, on the duck clock too, will bring you TODs.
Right.
I've been saying that for a while.
I've been saying for a long time.
A long time. I say it all the time because if this vent doesn't do that to you, it makes you humble and look at this and valuing it different. I don't know what to say.
Right. Okay. For those who, again, those people who are worried about their money and their taxes and things, and we've got credit cards and things like that, they're wondering if the credit cards will stop working or be zeroed out after Christmas.
I think I kind of known that answer, and I don't think it's as long as that they think it is. It's like when I just imagine this when you have to implement a new system, and to implement it, you're going to have to trade it out, right? And there might be temporary times, and I think this is in regions. I don't think it's all at once. I think it's in regions, which is a smart way to do it. And then all of a sudden, so it's not such a panic all at once. It's like the rolling outages, rolling internet, rolling everything. Everything's rolling. That's what I think. What I feel. So that's what I think. And they're gonna show it, and then maybe you go back 5 to 10 hours later, and it's working again. Mm-hmm. Grades, whatever you want to call it. Because it has to go down to replace it.
Right. And as far as those, we're supposed to be having all the debt paid off.
Well, that, like I said, it goes with the...
That's all rolling too.
Old regime.
Whole thing.
That was completely done the wrong way. And there's no sense of paying something that doesn't no longer exist. Mm-hmm. It's like a restart button. It is a restart button, a green light. And so it's almost, the Christians would say your sins are forgiven. It's all clear and it's all good. So if you want to use a biblical term. So then they can start from a fresh slate, a fresh fruit, fruitfulness. Fruits are being given. And now here's your new path to take a different road and look at things different than what you really need. So
right.
Yeah, it's nothing of the old regime is going to fit in the new one, the system on fairness and goodness and nurturing and balance.
Okay.
So it is just, it has to collapse part with it if it hasn't already, and it's not showing it yet.
Mm-hmm. Right. Like the IRS, for example. The people are
all of us got our fake letters.
Yeah. Well, they're wondering if why are employers still collecting from employees for the IRS if they're not there. I think it's just
corporations, and I think that will come into play where they'll be like, you can refund them at this point in this time. We no longer take this, and if you don't, we will take it and give it back to them ourselves. So I think there will be a time that they'll have a certain amount of time to refund that or give it back to them. They can't keep it. You can't store it. So right. Like everything they say, we have everything. So like anything else that is built on the wrong morals, they're going to give you a certain amount of time to make it right. And if you don't, they will.
Right. Okay. Very good. And those people who aren't paying their taxes, who owed, are they going to have anyone go after them, do you think? No?
I don't think so. I don't, because if anybody's done the research, they know who took that over and who runs it now, and it's not the same institution. So, yeah.
Okay. Very good. Okay, next one. Let's see. Lots of truthers make the comment that white hats / Trump own the stock exchange. Is there any truth to that? Or will the white hats step in and take the collateral when the great market crash happens?
Okay, repeat that again.
Okay, first one. Lots of truthers are making the comment that the white hats / Trump own the stock exchange. Is there any truth to that?
So the word I use that I already got my ass chewed on TikTok was what I say. He was, ask Alexa. And I did. Unless I forgot. So I said the shepherd, the ambassador, and the king, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did come back. So the ambassador to me is the one that's in charge, that has earned the respect. Yes.
Okay.
He would be the only one in control of that situation, because they have to have a representative for that. So, and everybody has to comply to that representative, because that is built trust and loyalty. So not in a way of, so yes, they have total control, because that's the new system, which is tied into the quantum system.
So just to be sure, just to go over the question, they don't own it, but they are in control of it.
Exactly. The people own it.
You know how other people can word things depending on who pays their bill.
I think that's that 3D process where they always think that someone owns it. Now. You got to get out of the corporation process, and it's the people. You know, the people. So you serve the people, you work for the people, you are the people. So yeah, you just have a representative that you trust.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Let's see. Would they ever announce the new QFS without removing the fake president first?
I was thinking about this the other day, and I feel like they're gonna, like, it's gonna dry up like a raisin. They're waiting for it to literally just dry up and go, you still wanna look at that and trust that and believe that? Or you can shift with the 4D and watch this whole thing turn. And I keep telling you, I mean, is it going to come down to him dragging his butt on the stage? I don't know. It might be. You know, it's getting pretty bad as it is now.
Right.
I mean, these people, and I've seen it on Twitter, that in that regime, I call it, with him, is they don't care if they're called pedophiles anymore. The people that work with them, they don't even care. I mean, they're so beyond sympathetic towards anything. I mean, I'm sure you saw that congressman, was it Ohio or something? And they, how do you say the word? They did a dirty act.
This is the way to put it.
Probably no one wants to sit in again, or even think of going in that area. And yeah, so that vision would never end, you know. So it's on Twitter, it's everywhere. So it's gross.
Yeah,
they want to make it so normal, and it's just, God. I don't know. I feel bad for his wife. She probably didn't know.
You never know.
Right.
We won't go there. Okay. Another question. Do you feel that there will be any kind of scare event at all? Or are people so obsessed with money and making money that they seem that if they think it's all gone, they'll wake up?
Well, it's not going to be all gone. It's like a copy account. But when things start to be implemented, those podiums of structure start to be shown the strength that they have, and they start to see that consistency of that balance. because they do. I'm going to tell you, humanity, man, women, children, we want to be led by something good now. I'm literally telling you, the people, like, literally, aliens can take over anything but what we got now. They don't care. They're literally, there's no worse you can do anymore. We are at that point. So what I'm saying is, if they see something implementing change that's especially positive, they're going to jump on that. They're going to be positive about it because they know they want the change. They don't want it going down the road that it's going. So I believe, and then when the biggest attention, and I told you, they will always get people's attention at a standstill moment, is their events at that very moment. They'll, don't say anything. I want this to keep coming. So I'm just going to hold my breath and not say anything. So it's going to get everybody to stand at attention and want to see if there's more fruits to come.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. The new money, I guess it has a picture of an astronaut on the moon. It says, since we know that was fake, and a picture of the White House and Statue of Liberty, that is satanic. Why would the new money have that on there?
I'd ask where they got it. Again, because remember how they change pictures. And what you see doesn't mean that is the original. There's always something copied, something fake. So I would wait till they show you and say, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get that from hearsay, 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 hearsay. Print it.
Right.
Copy it. But I'm not 100% sure that is it completely.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Another quick thing about, I know you talked about chemtrails and how the spraying was bad before, but now they seem to be spraying it, but it's good spraying, because some people are starting to say that they're certainly spraying with a vengeance now.
Yeah, they have to
or extra clean.
Gotta clean the debris, clean the crud, clean it up.
Okay.
You can tell by looking at it now, it's different how it comes out too, and I've noticed that too.
Yeah.
And so, like that. So I mean, like everything on this planet, we have to clean up our mess that was created.
Mm-hmm. And I've noticed in the past, when they would run the trails, within a week, someone would feel sick. Somebody in the family would feel sick, if not more than one of them. But I haven't noticed anything since. And we've had a lot of chemtrails this past month around here anyway.
Right.
But okay. Thank you.
So yeah, I don't, and I think it's over been 7-8 months that I've said that it's changed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay. Down to the landscape. Is our Earth or the landscape going to change in the next year? Someone's asking more on like the East Coast side. Do you see anything happening there?
I see they might have some islands surfacing and some disappearing, because this whole crust is changing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I keep hearing, the past is surfacing to the top. So will there be things on Geographic it'll fall apart? And I like it. I think it's Japan. They have a volcano there that's like creating an island and stuff like that too. So I mean, and it's sometimes you're seeing the stuff just pop up overnight. It just makes you understand, like those, like they always showed me that this planet's like a Rubik's cube, and then it's going to shift up, and then all of a sudden you're going to see the past in front of your face. Mm-hmm. And you're seeing some of those headstones are appearing. I think there's been 2 different places. And so ice, when you look in Antarctica, and it's melting, water's going, you're seeing pyramids. And I think that the last thing I saw was a circle of a headstone in a circle motion too. So I mean, our past is being revealed.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying, as in, yes, I mean, you might have islands, and there might be more added on to the islands on top of the East Coast. Or I'm always worried about, what is that? Well, you live in that area between New York. Isn't there a highway that goes underground?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that one makes me nervous, because I'm like, yeah, no, thank you. Because when it shifts,
Mm-hmm.
I would not want to be in that. No. So I would
Right.
say that one I would not be driving on right now. Not
Okay.
the way that our Earth is letting off steam and changing, and yeah. So that area makes me nervous.
Right. Okay. Alrighty.
It said bridges. So the bridge, but it's underground. So yeah.
Yeah, there seem to be closing a lot of bridges where I am. Interesting enough, but that's okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
Alrighty. So here's another one. Someone's asking about the card that you had shown in Signal.
What card?
And
oh, okay, yeah, I got that from a QFS.
Explain that.
That is they're saying it's a card for the future. Will have your name and your ID and some number on there. So I can, I'll find it in the group and see what they have on it. See if I can post more on it. But yeah.
Okay.
And it is gold though, and it is to have like some identification. I'm sure I would say a futuristic type of chip frequency stuff they have in it and everything. But I mean, eventually we're gonna have to start to know what those look like. But yeah, I saw it today.
Right.
And that's why I posted it in there.
Right. Okay. So look forward to something like that. Okay. Last question, unless we get someone in the group here. Let's see. I'll do this one before the last one. As far as the negative individuals and things going away, do you see the evil buildings going down also?
You can answer that one, because what did I say?
Yeah.
I did a post on.
Do you think it'll happen before the 1st, though?
Yes. I think it's already part of it's happening. That's the thing. Because as soon as I've already seen some things. So buildings and corporation. And I put it in Instagram. That was what? I don't know. Everything that I have is on Instagram now. Right. But I mean, go back to Instagram.
Go to Instagram.
Buildings and corporations. So lockout, just like they're doing with these local towns and pushing out the governors and turning the key and saying, this is ours. You have no longer access to this. And I think they're going to do that to the judges and the attorneys too. You have no longer access. So the justice system too.
Okay.
So I just, instead of fighting that resistance, you lock them out. They can't get in.
Mm-hmm.
You can't serve because you're not allowing them to serve anymore. You know, the next thing you can do is shun them. What the military does.
Why not? Yeah. Okay. Here's a general one. How do we get rid of fear? All the fear.
You do not. That's an interpretation of 3D because it works off your energy. It triggers you by old programming. And so, first of all, you get out of the algorithm and you don't watch the programs. Stay away from that. It doesn't have a concept in your vision anymore. You don't give it its energy to, you say, fuel off your anger or its anger to trigger you and to make you feel heavy. And I mean, it's all, how do you get rid of it? You don't give it the power, and it's literally acting like it has no acknowledgement in your life. It's taking your power back, literally. You're not being a programmed, trained individual no more. You're thinking on your own process and being strong enough to stand in that truth. So I think when I do the meditation, and you understand the meditation of getting off this plane and feeling that freedom, I think is the best thing. Because that freedom of understanding that you don't need items, you don't need these physical things to keep your soul satisfied, when you understand that energy is everything. So it's putting your soul in a process that's not programmed. Not programmed. Taking yourself out of that program completely. Mm-hmm. And thinking independently. And like I always say to people, when they say, I'm crazy, I go, I'm too insane to explain and you're too normal to understand. And they go, yeah, you are crazy. I'm like, you just proved my point. But okay.
Yeah.
So the thing is, it's just feeling comfortable going against the resistance of trying to put evil and put control over you.
Right. Okay.
And idols. Stop idolizing others.
Okay. Here's another one. When you are channeling, do you get a lot, and you're getting downloads, do you get downloads in number forms at all?
I never do. You don't even hear me talk about it. I never see numbers, and they always say English is not the spiritual language.
Right.
Now, when I see writing, it's down this way. It's never this way. And it's in, and it's funny how I see it too, because I see it in the format of gold particles sometimes going down this way, And so it's the same thing as, I don't get numbers. I hear things, but I never, my channeling doesn't reside with numbers. It resides with images.
Mm-hmm.
Full image of it and the premonition of how it implements in that flash of that information and the details of levels. Even when I do cases, when I want to focus on a street or something, they always show me what's around the environment of that street, or the sense or the smell of it. So, the numbers, and that's the thing when people would call me up, they're like, well, I want to play the lottery. I'm like, Spirit don't care about that. You don't. That's a human thing.
Right.
You would like to make it easy. So no, it's not a numbers. It's definitely not an English. Definitely not an English format of numbers. I could say that.
Right. Okay. Let's see, a couple came in through the chat. Are the Sasquatch and cryptids part of bringing in the new Earth?
Sasquatch and I have a friend, Tammy Tricol. She works at a Bigfoot group. I think she squatches or something like that, but they've been getting a lot of activity, of a lot of presence and stuff like that. And I think it's Tammy, Jennifer, and Jen. Yeah. And not just with, it's with sea squatches and Bigfoot, the situation with that is it's a dimensional thing, because I always think those are dimensional beings. They already know your intentions of things, so they're before you're in the presence of that situation. So it's opening a door that's dimensional, and then they come in and they leave. I always like how they just come and get what they need and then they leave. But then giants is in that consistency too, because I always feel that I think it was in the Philippines. They saw a recent picture of one on top of a mountain. So I believe that this is already, you got to be paying attention to that stuff too, because I said that those would surface. Those would come to the surface. Utah, Iran, all this stuff. You're going to start to see those, but those need to surface, like those squatchers and all that too, because we need to know how we worked with them before. And they always think that, there's pictures of them and side by side, just like with nature was, and animals were side by side. And we need to accept that instead of being fearful of the situation. I mean, it's a shame that society has gone down that road. But yes, you're going to see more of it, more activation of it, because we're not in the 3D anymore. Right. So, and I think when you're looking at it as a humanity way of just trying to understand it and looking at it and seeing it on their terms instead of you forcing something, just like spirits. Not going to show themselves if you're forcing the situation. When you are on the intentions of goodness, it'll present itself to you. So it really has to do with your intentions. They already sense that.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Could you talk about the South Carolina NESARA governor?
He's letting it rip. He's letting it rip. He was excited about it too. It's like, NESARA. He wants, some people would get really excited about it, and you can tell that he's part of letting that information out, hitting the conscience, letting them think about it, what is really going on, because there are some people that they're just going to turn with that crowd as it leads into a line, I told you, and they're just going to follow the crowd. That's what's going to happen to a lot of these. And a lot of it's going to be once they get the funding, they're like, okay, we're supposed to do this now to get more of this. That's what I see, and they're like, okay. So then it slowly reveals to them, they slowly accept it, but if you put pressure on them, they're going to shut down.
Right. Okay. Let's see. Another question. With any blackout, is signal the way we would communicate? And does the CIA own it?
Can you repeat that again?
With any blackout, is Signal, the Signal app, the way we would communicate? And does the CIA own Signal?
No. Definitely, if they did, they don't have no power over it now.
Okay.
So another psyop, I think.
Okay. And if she's asking if there's a blackout, would we be able to communicate on Signal? But again, there may not be a full-out blackout. It may just rolling, correct?
I don't know. I want you to ask Jaco.
Which one?
Michael Jaco about that one.
Yeah, which Michael? Anyway. Okay. Do you know about dogmen? Someone wants to know about dogmen. They seem to be a human creation.
More of a science project. More of a, let's put these cells together and figure it out. So yeah, I do believe in them, and I believe that they experience with that, and I don't think it's a sad situation, but yes.
Okay.
It kind of looks like Anki a little, don't you think? Kind of like just a little bit. See that nose? It's a little Anki there thing going on, right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Just saying. In between these two, right? In between alien version, 3D version. Okay. Anyway, it's funny.
Too funny. Someone's saying, should we be paying off our credit cards?
No. Barely a minimum. I don't even know.
There you go.
I mean, yeah. No.
Okay. Barely minimum payments. Okay, let's see. Someone's asking, will we be in harmony with them? I'm guessing he means the Sasquatch.
I hope so. I really do. I hope humanity stops using them as props and you guys should really go look at my friends on She Squatchers. I think that's who they are. I'd have to look at what. Let me look real quick, and I'll tell you what it is real quick.
Put her site in the chat, maybe.
I will. It's on Instagram too, so I'll give you guys. And they have a radio show too. So let me look at. So I give you guys the right one to go to. The other one's not good. Just a second here. I have to look for it. There it is. Okay, it is She Squatchers. Bigfoot research. So if you go look up Tammy Tricle official, and then it is Sea Squatchers, and they do have She Squatcher officials. So they have Jennifer, and Tammy, and they do have a radio show called The Journey Radio Show.
Okay.
So
thank you.
It'll help you on that.
Very good. If I can put that in there. Okay. Someone's asking, Jaco recently said that he thinks Kirsten W. is alive. What do you think, Jenny?
Who's Kirsten W?
Kirsten? Another.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So.
He said that, huh?
Apparently.
I don't think so.
Okay. Thank you.
Because I gave my opinion on that and to someone close to the situation, and no.
Okay. Will there be 3 days of darkness, and will it cause the Earth to start rotating in the opposite direction?
I think there is darkness for the other side. There's not darkness for us.
Okay.
The Earth is flat. Forget on that. Go look on the other side of the ice.
Right. Okay.
The firmament.
Someone's asking, did someone teach you remote viewing?
Well, let me tell you about that situation. I was thrown in the situation. I didn't even realize I was doing remote viewing because I just kept getting details about cases, details about this case and that case, and then I started seeing it in views of levels, and then I just went and compared myself to remote viewers, and I'm like, but mine, where they see things from a distance, I go more into detail. So I interpreted more of each level. So instead of seeing the tower of water tower from a distance and seeing it from a distance, I'm like, what's the screws look like in the, is there rust on it? So I go more detail. That's how it happened with me. So I wasn't taught in the left brain with remote viewing. I was taught in analyzing it spiritually, but remote viewing is, anybody can do it. But I think because it was such a raw situation, I really took to it fast because I didn't have any dictators telling me yes or no. I was just like, this is it from spirit. This is what I'm getting. And apparently, me and spirit are pretty good at that.
And for all those folks who won't be able to find their money that they hit, they're going to call you. Jenny, I need some remote
viewing. Me and
viewing.
Chief are talking about that. All those people who cannot find their money in the house, Chief was saying, like, they're going to be calling you for the money. And where's this? Where's that?
Where is it?
And I do get a lot of stuff like that, and I get wills and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that's going to be a big one. I don't remember where I put it. I got to turn it in the bank, and I don't know where it's at. Yeah, I even think with remote viewing, I wasn't trying to compare myself to everybody until I realized the targets I was getting. And then, especially because I do the drawings of the person that's involved, which adds to a lot of the detail stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that changed it to a whole different way of remote viewing and picking up people who were involved in situations or cases or around items they shouldn't have been around, or criminal activity, or artifacts and locations of property and stuff like that. So I just flowed with it. I wasn't trying to analyze it. I was just trying to flow with it. That's how I ended up creating it.
Okay.
Not resisting.
Right. Okay, folks are asking about Ismail Perez. Still good with what he says? You still trust him? What are your comments?
Well, this is what I'm gonna tell you guys something about him. I want you to see that he is not one of the product pushers. He is not standing by some big sponsor. He is promoting his book and promoting his classes on his own. He does not need a big name pushing him. So, and you can look at that and you can see it for yourself. So he has not been bought off in that way. So I'm just telling you, and that tells you a lot about their intentions of where they're going with things. And he's just giving his information that he knows, giving the classes that he knows, and giving his book. He is not, and we've had a severe conversation about some certain stuff, and he's staying in what he feels comfortable doing on his own and has his passion. So I'm going to give him tons of credit in that way, that he can stand against that and do his own thing. So that's what I'm saying.
Okay. And last, they're asking about if you have any info on California and the changes there, especially Southern California. And I know you still have that map that you did, I think, in Instagram, right?
I think I have it where it divides it. Right. Yeah, what do you know? There's the divide through it. See, that's where it's going to open up, and then it's going to go that way and that way. But they did show, you keep seeing something, or like you see a fault line, and it's like you're driving on it, and you're seeing it up. Like, how can that, looks like a mountain coming up out of the ground? And I never thought of something like, why is it so edged up like this? But yeah, this shows it going into the water and how it's separating. Right. Funny, because those are, so I've been telling people that's on unstable ground, but also I did a drawing on the soil of it, how I thought the soil and how they showed me the interpretation of the soil, what it looked like too. And that wasn't a good feeling, because they showed me a lot of black sand underneath and how things are mixed and how the gravel is not as thick. So it's something But you can keep piling on top of it and piling on top of it, and the fault lines are changing and saturating, and it's gonna give in. And plus, you're going to have to dismantle underneath it. It's not good. And I think it's a mentality of people are just holding on, holding on. I think eventually the concept of understanding. Here's a soil one. Sorry. This was kind of representing soils and levels of California. You know, you saw 1, 2, 3, 4. You know how it's deteriorating in soils,
right?
Know? So it's not good where the soil's going on these levels. It's not showing a solid ground. That is nerve-wracking,
right?
You know, so when those fault lines give, that liquid feeling I get with the black sand they show me, it's going to ride with it, and that's not good. And then those hill areas, they say come down, because that's more of the stable area that they show in the mountains, and it's just going to tumble in on there. And that's why I've always showed you, and around Hollywood, it's just going to turn into this pit area, specifically in that area.
Okay. Thank you. Let's see. Someone's saying, can you comment on XRP?
I would tell you that Spirit has never told me to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always said gold and silver, not XRP. And especially not the other word B.
Mm-hmm.
It went against that one. So I don't feel an energy of steadiness, thinking that something's gonna stay for a while and then it's gonna tear off. And so because what I asked of the new system, when you transfer everything over to the new systems, you got to look at what's going to last, what's going to stay in that motion as things change.
Right.
I feel like it'll hit its peak and then it's going to go down. And I even had a client that asked, and my advice, if I had money in it right before this is happening, I'd be getting rid of it. It's just the way I really feel, right. Because when something is strong, like I say, this blue, let's say, water-based stone that's coming from the firmament that they show me that's of value, and gold and silver, I would tell you, but I don't feel that with this situation.
Right.
It'll end its day and ride it out, and no.
Okay. Thank you. Let's see. What part is the photon belt plating in? Oh, I just lost it. What part is the photon belt playing in the shift? The photon belt. Yeah.
Like riding away, like I think it changes. So how, nothing stays steady, in this I'd say this outer energy that's I feel coming in like this, which I have to describe it through a higher dimension as it was presented, that chain effect down here and how it laps around the universe. So I feel it could change. So it's not something that's going to stay the same, if that makes sense, because it's not a steady. I think there's times that it can open a certain way, and there are times that it'll be shut down.
Right. Okay. Thank you. All right. I know we're in a little over an hour. Did you want to share some channeling? Or
Well,
no?
we already kind of went in with the fact that, like I
Covered it?
said, like the only thing that I'm saying is not looking this as darkness. It's not you that has to look at it as darkness. They have to look at it as their darkness and their time to run. Ooh, I just felt that energy. Ooh. Wow. Okay. Their time to run and present, and with that presenting, they are in a nervous process. They are in a nervous situation. Sorry, I just felt his energy. In this, so it's a panic mode for them. It's OCD moment for them. It's where do I go? Where do I hide? There's no place here. There's no place in the next realm for what they have done. Could be trusted. So they're going to be cornered. And they're going to be loaded up. And then be sent to an island. And so it's not time for you or in this existence to be in fear. In this process of these days are not darkness for you. It is for them, because we have been sitting in the darkness and not having this information exposed to us. Now it is their time in their own darkness because of their choices. That's what this is about.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why everything will be seen in light. Anyone else felt that? Oh my goodness. So anyway, it is not your dark days. It is theirs. So it's not something to put in a fear energy. It is an enlightenment for you, and it is not for them. So that's the thing that they were saying. They didn't want the process of being into a fear process of these days. Because everything, if you look at it, how things are going to process, it's all going to be seen publicly, all is going to be seen in the light. You're not going to be denied that access to it. It's like that's what I was talking about, the rolling power outages, the rolling internet, the rolling everything. And then I think I told you too, once you see soldiers in an area and they tell you to shut your door, there's a reason that has to happen. And that's because they probably know exactly where that person is that they have to track down. And they're going to get desperate and they're going to try to get into your house or something to hide. There's a reason why you have to listen to them on that process. Hopefully, like I said, the democratic cities is where you can see that.
Right. Okay.
Well, that was a huge wave of energy. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's all right. I felt one of those early this afternoon too. I'm sure you've seen the picture of the United States that was covered with water in the middle.
I saw that.
Have you seen that? What are your thoughts on that?
And that is, again, we go back to the Rubik's Cube. How our plates are going to change. You can't stop it. But again, to look at that as a 4D dimension. And do I think that you're going to have this tragic and all these people are going to be around this? No. Because outside the wall, outside the ice wall, you need to understand that there's more territory. They're not letting you know that, but now you need to know that. So, yes, I believe that can happen. Yes, but do I believe that there's more territory for us? Yes. So, and I think that we're going to have access to that. So when those things change, we'll be able to move and develop into other areas. So yes, they're giving you an understanding that this shift of these plates and what's going to happen. Can't avoid it. Can't stop it either.
Right.
I think we'll have well enough time before they decide that that part of that, our world and that region is going to change.
Okay. Thank you. Let's see. What are your thoughts on Bo Polney, Analyst of Time?
What?
Bo Polney. I don't know.
Never heard of
sure.
it. They'd have to.
Biblical Analyst of Time.
Never heard of them.
Okay. Alrighty. Do you think they're going to play Revelations out and allow the Antichrist, or do we bypass that altogether?
Bypass that. And plus, I think that there was a process of going back and changing time too on that process too. So I do believe that, and I think they presented that even on the deck clock, showed you in a certain way of information too. So yeah, I think we bypassed that. But the angelic process and the spiritual war is there, and it has been going on, and it has gone through this transformation. But Enki's not standing with the angels, I can tell you that. In that war, he's running in every direction. No, I'm just saying.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, someone's saying that Bo Polney is following the Kim Clement prophecy.
Couldn't tell you unless it was presented in front of me and if I knew something about it, but I don't.
Right. What will happen to all these religious people who think the Antichrist is coming? Will they wake up?
Well, there's going to be massive destruction and emotional teardown in that situation when they realize, like we talked about, that every religion was giving money to certain society, and it makes you wonder all those non-profit organizations and how they were to benefit from them, why that happened. But I'm just saying, I'm expecting the Christians to have a major meltdown, find out, and that hopefully soon, that the church societies and the program will be dismantled, and now that people can hear about your own true choices. The book of Thomas was something you should have paid attention to in the Bible. They took that out. So, I mean, they don't want you to think independently. They take the book out. So when they allow those true books to appear again, and you can read all those information, instead of the church telling you to only pull certain verses that program you and tell you that that you're a sinner, and that's the whole ridiculism of the Mormons and all this stuff. Let's not even go down the list of all them. They all signed on the dotted line, and so you're going to have to see what your church is behind. It's not going to be good. It's going to be like a temple of people losing it in a psych ward.
Right. Okay. Let's see. Do you see a Black Swan event taking place before Christmas?
No.
No. A lot of people are talking about Enki and Enlil.
I don't, especially Enki, I don't, we know what I feel about him. And Enlil, I just don't get anything. There's like a nothingness with that one. There's not negative or positive, just nothing. So I don't
Right.
tell you something that I don't get. I just don't get nothing. No.
Right. Okay.
So I think there's a lot of questions. So I'd say for the week, you haven't done like I've been doing, like what's it been, 4 or 5 weeks I've been putting something out and then it comes out for prediction. Just follow Instagram, it's there. What they've been wanting me to do is show cities. Like I think I'll use LA or Hollywood, and they have a fence around that city, and then they show the buses and they show Walmart as the psych wards that they put all the, the ones that can't handle the change. So I got to do this picture of that. So they're just showing me, pay attention to, we talked about the corporations and the buildings being locked out. Now they're saying confined in an area. If you want to trap the rat, what do? Find a confined area, you put them in and filter them and vent them through to get the information that they do know. So I think there's going to be a meltdown because, and I don't know at that time that at the part of the media, we're already seeing a change, that they'll be posting, here comes another energy. Please feel this. It is literally as we're talking. Confined areas, you know what I'm saying? To filter them where they need to decide what category they need to be in, to keep them safe away from society. So that post will be coming up. I'm sure I'll get some stones and swords on that one. And then just the golden age, right? They're showing the presenting the golden age, the golden path, and not being in a panic situation, especially with the banks. Stop panicking over that because it's already dittoed.
Okay.
And I believe they already tested the banks, that if they're going to push it, or the ones that were going to try to take the money, it has already been tested. They already went through and tested them on that. So yeah.
Okay.
So as this energy keeps going, I'm going to shut it down because I'm like, whoa. Is anybody else feeling this? I'm like, it is.
Yeah, I did. I think someone else in the chat did too.
Jeez. That's the back of the head. I'm telling you, the back of the head. You can, you sense all this. Like I said, that. Anyway, yeah, I think they'll cover it for this week. But like I always tell them, just to stay in the light. And like I said, it's not you that needs to be in the darkness, it's them. So don't be in that fear process of this creating. It's them being pushed in a corner and them having not access to things that they can communicate, share money and funding and every process. So I would say in this process, if you're especially living in the cities and they know that officers are in an area and they're moving helicopters or anything like that, I want you to think yourself as a criminal and they're desperate. So if you're down the road and you're in a car and they're coming down that way, get in a building, get in your house, get in your apartment, because they're going to take whatever they can to use for leverage. You have to be careful.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
So you guys have a good night, but I think a lot of us are not going to sleep tonight. This continues.
No. Yeah.
Like, you know what it feels like? What's that? The roller park, that top thing that looks like a top. You're inside that thing, and it made you nauseous. That's what I'm feeling like. Like you get done doing that. that spin top when everybody's like back here and I forgot what they call those at the carnivals, right? That's what I feel like
Right.
I've done doing.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I'm like, whoa, this is heavy. And then everybody
kind of don't want to
huh?
get up and walk. I kind of don't want to get up and walk at the
Because
moment.
that's what it feels like. It just went, you came out of that and you're like, whoa. So everybody knows how to contact me for readings, class, all that information, predictions, intel information, and check out my Instagram for all the predictions on there. And Patreon has those more detailed where you can go back into them. So they're not lost. That's the only thing that frustrates me when I try to refine something. You have to go through the feed, and Patreon's the only one that get into it like that. So, anyway, good night. Maybe I'm sleeping, but hey. So, till again, you guys take care. Stay in the light. Bye.
Good night.